abakwazi ukuphatha umaths. Angisho ngoba kuzingane zami. Ngicabanga ukuthi zonke lezi zingane ehambile ziphila leyo mpilo.
They don't even carry knives, and I'm not just saying this because they are my children. All these children are the same. They know nothing about guns. Imagine being given a rifle and hand grenades and told go to war. We really didn't know things would turn out like this.
The woman in the video is Pumla Zuma. She is former President Jacob Zuma's sister-in-law. 3 of her sons and 5 grandchildren were allegedly recruited by her niece and Zuma's daughter Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla to join the army in Russia. They are not safe. They were told that they were going to Russia to train to be bodyguards for Zuma's political party, Umkhonto Wesizwe. Now they are stuck in Russia. Their mother is desperate. She has done everything she can. Every day passing, she is losing faith of her sons ever coming back home alive. Duduzile Umkhonto Wesizwe's member of parliament. After watching her aunt cry and plead on TV and being concerned for her son's safety, this was her reaction.
Okay, thanks for it. MK party leadership and members of MK.
Welcome back to True Crime Julia. On this channel, we look into true crime cases that have happened in South Africa. This particular case is new. Even though the man arrived in Russia in July, this story only broke on Sunday last week, or at least it only reached public domain last week. And yesterday, on Friday 28 November, Duduzile resigned from her post as a member of parliament. So this story is still new, it's developing, and it is based on allegations as it stands. There has been a case opened, so we have relied on a police confirmation, media reports, and a statement by Umkhonto Wesizwe. Please also note that in most instances in this report, the names of the victims have been changed, and it is to conceal their identity for their own safety, as it is believed that they're still in war zones in Russia. Let us get into the story.
Okay, so let me just share the following. This is a very sensitive matter, and we're dealing with people's children, we're dealing with families, brothers, and family associates. So, by virtue of that, and by virtue of the fact that there's a case that's been opened and that's been investigated by the Hawks, I think it's always better to allow that process to unfold. Comrade Dudu has, in this case, opened up a case of her own. I think she states categorically what is in the transpired. And let's also allow the diplomatic channels to, also take their course, because we know that the officials are reviewing and looking into this matter. At this point, we cannot confirm or deny anything at this point, because we don't know the facts of what transpired. And on the issue of the letter, I've seen the letter on social media. I've not seen the letter myself, so I cannot confirm whether the letter is true or not. And hence I'm saying, let's allow the investigation to unfold. Again, this is not an MK matter. It's a Dudu matter. I can't speak on behalf of Dudu. I'm not a Dudu spokesperson. I'm MK party spokesperson. I think that's important for people to understand. And we'll only comment when we are approached by the officials on this issue. As it is, MK party is not involved, and we just need to allow the process and the law to take its course.
But can you comment to the extent that a senior member of your party is being implicated in such and is being accused of that? From that front, you as the party spokesperson, what's your response to that?
Well, we are in a political space, and by nature, anything that we know is associated with the Zuma family will always catch light and will always be looked at and scrutinized, and in most cases unfairly so. So, I can't comment on the basis of just it being something that's making noise out there. There's a lot of noise that's been made about many other things. So it's just a matter of allowing the process to unfold, and then, at that point we'll make a determination as to whether we should speak or not, and how to intervene if need be in those ways.
In August this year, a very disturbing social media influencer campaign rocked South Africa. Influencers with millions of followers like Buji, Seemah, Siamtanda Dami, and Zile were part of a campaign which disguised as a job opportunity for young women. In this campaign, the influencers wanted to recruit young desperate women to go work or study in Russia.
Arrived here in Russia, in Terrastan.
I am in Russia, the Republic of Tatarstan. Very excited to be here. This is where the START program takes place. Apparently, girls are treated fairly here. Africans, Asians, Latin Americans.
Part of your next big opportunity wasn't just a dream, but a life-changing adventure. I am here to plug all the ambitious girls from all over the world, aged 18 to 22.
A program called the START program that offers an opportunity to young African women to start work.
The Alabuga START program promised free travel, free housing, and career development. However, around 200 women from Africa were employed in a factory in Tatarzan's Alabuga Special Economic Zone. They worked alongside Russian vocational students, some as young as 15 years old. They worked in the weapons factory. The women did not realize that they would be making weapons until after arrival. During recruitment, they were told that they would be joining a work-study program in fields such as hospitality. Thanks to some good South Africans who called the influencers out, they were cancelled for just 2 seconds and then they returned to business as usual.
Namarashia speaking herself. I'm gonna make this very short and very quick. I've been quiet firstly because I've been waiting for the program to actually release a statement on my behalf. And human trafficking is a very, very, very serious matter. And I do not stand with that.
I'm shocked. Hearing all of this, I'm shocked. And it is definitely my fault for not doing my research. And I really apologize for being so ignorant and putting young women's lives in danger, you know.
Categorize me as an influencer anymore because I won't be giving my energy like that anymore because I can see how fast things can switch.
A couple of months ago, we posted a video or videos about work in Russia. We were approached by a campaign that we're doing, telling us what an opportunity it was for African women to work in Russia.
I've seen the establishment. I thought in my head that this would be fine. I agreed with my team. This looks proper. This is just another deal, another brand deal that we have to shoot.
The Russian Alabuga training program. Honestly, we as South Africans, we are very sad, heartbroken, and disappointed as well. Because it is no secret that South Africa is struggling financially, economically, and we don't have a lot of job opportunities. So if you are going to use influencers who can easily influence us to try and offer a remedy to what we are struggling with, we are definitely going to jump at that opportunity.
Fortunately, scores of South African women were saved from this campaign before it was too late. And then around the same time this year, Sipho Zuma allegedly received an offer he can't refuse. This from a trusted cousin, Duduzile Zuma. Other young men were also recruited by Blessing Khoza and Sipho Zuma. The men were told that Umkhonto Wesizwe has lucrative posts to be bodyguards for the party. So Sipho and 16 other young men from Kwazulu Natal, another man from the Eastern Cape, and others from as far as Lesotho, about 22 in total, and 8 of them are former President Jacob Zuma and Duduzile's own family members. They were added into a WhatsApp group. The group was administered by Duduzile. This is where they would share details of how the job would go. They recruited young men from desperate situations. They were unemployed and they needed jobs. In the group, they shared about 100 messages of how this would benefit them. But first, they were told that they needed to undergo training for this job in Russia. They told them that they would be trained in military-style training. They said the training includes sleeping in mountains and armed with guns and grenades. Duduzile, Blessing and Sipho allegedly also said they would join them in the training for a year and endure the same hardships. The men were allegedly sent communication which had Umkhonto Wesizwe party letterheads. Their contracts also had Umkhonto Wesizwe party logos according to reports. They then signed and agreed to the deal. They say within 3 days their passports were ready in July. They also alleged that the recruiters paid for their flights to Russia. And then when they arrived in Russia, everything changed. They were handed over to a Russian mercenary group Wagner to fight in the Ukraine war without their knowledge or consent. They say on arrival, they were given contracts that were written in Russian to sign. They didn't understand what was written. So in the WhatsApp group, they contacted Duduzile and mentioned that they're not happy and they wanted to come back home. They say Duduzile then flew to Russia herself to convince them to sign the contracts. She then left them there. The men then started contacting their family members for help because they were scared.
Abakwazi ukuphatha uMax. Angisho ngoba kuzingane zami. Ngicabanga ukuthi zonke lezi zingane ehambile ziphila leyo mpilo.
They don't even carry knives, and I'm not just saying this because they are my children. All these children are the same. They know nothing about guns. Imagine being given a rifle and hand grenades and told go to war. We really didn't know things would turn out like this.
They were moved closer to the war region of Donbass. They say the conditions there are really bad. They don't have water. They haven't bathed for days. They don't understand the language or why they keep being moved from place to place. They also say it has started snowing in Russia and their bodies are not acclimatized to snow, so their bodies have started to become stiff. They say it feels like they are going to war. They say since they have arrived, there were 3 drone attacks in the area that they are at. In one of the voice notes sent to the family WhatsApp group, another man said, please parents, please help. Please help us parents. We are leaving now. They're about to take us. Please help us in any way possible. Please parents. He was just begging. And another man said, we are being taken away. I guess I will see you on the other side. Just a quick one on the war itself. The war between Ukraine and Russia is one of the most significant and destructive conflicts of the 21st century. It began in 2014, it escalated massively in 2022, and it continues today. As I said, the war began in 2014, thus when Russia took over Crimea. Crimea is a piece of land that sits at the crossroads of Europe, Russia, and the Middle East. This makes it hugely valuable for trade, energy routes, and military access. Internationally, Crimea is recognized as part of Ukraine, but Russia has controlled it since 2014 after taking control of it and fighting broke out in eastern Ukraine. But everything changed on 24 February 2024 when Russia launched a full-scale invasion. Russia expected a quick victory. Instead, Ukraine resisted fiercely, and the war turned into a long, brutal conflict. Since then, the fighting has focused mainly in eastern Ukraine, especially the Donbass area. This is where the young men from South Africa are said to be. In that area, there is constant drone strikes, missile attacks, and heavy artillery battles. Cities have been destroyed, millions have fled their homes, and now the world has been pulled into this crisis. There's no peace deal, no clear end in sight, and both sides continue fighting over territory, over survival, and their future. This remains Europe's biggest war since World War II. Ukraine says Russia has recruited at least 18,000 foreign fighters from 128 countries, according to figures shared by Ukrainian Brigadier General Dmytro Yusov, who said that almost 3,400 foreigners have died fighting for Russia. So back to South Africa. After distress calls and the families of the men writing to former President Jacob Zuma to intervene, he reportedly wrote a letter to the Russian Defense Minister, Andriy Belousov. He pleaded with him that the South African men must be removed from the combat zone. That is not enough, however. They want to come back home. So the families also wrote to President Cyril Ramaphosa to intervene on November 6. He launched an investigation. Then, on Saturday, November 22, Banganani Nkosazana Zuma, Jacob Zuma's eldest daughter, opened a criminal case against her sister Duduzile and Blessing and Sipokazi.
Has registered a case representing our police station against the 3 individuals. She accuses them of luring 17 South African men to Russia to get involved in the Ukrainian war without their knowledge and consent. So she alleges that these 17 men are stuck in between the Ukraine-Russia war, and she's urging police to investigate this particular matter. I can confirm that an inquiry docket has been registered. The matter was escalated to provincial level, but I've just got the confirmation that the police will be taking over the docket to investigate. We cannot determine or confirm the charges as yet because we are yet to investigate, still investigating all these allegations that there were 17 men that were taken to Ukraine, Russia, rather, to fight in the Ukrainian war. So she alleges that upon arrival in Russia, they were then handed over in Ukraine without their full knowledge and consent. And so that's what we are doing investigators and individuals and what we are investigating and the hopes and then taking over the topic.
Just the final question, Aklinda. Are you able to at least tell us the state of these men? Are they back? What can you tell us about that?
Well, the men are not back yet. I think DIRCO, government investigator, is assured to comment on that, but we're just confirming that the case was registered at Central Police Station on Saturday evening, and the matter is still under investigation.
Are these men trained soldiers, or are they just taken as ordinary South Africans?
I do not have that information. We are going to investigate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then during the week, Duduzile opened her own case against Blessing, saying that he is the one that misled her. On Friday, Duduzile resigned from her role in Parliament and any other activities from Umkhonto Wesizwe with immediate effect.
At Mandeni, and will really avoid the temptation to use this matter as a political matter. Comrade Dudu was never forced to resign. She volunteered to resign because she wanted to focus in helping families return their loved ones. Now, it ends there. There is really nothing. She submitted a resignation today because she could not submit a resignation without taking the leadership into confidence and getting permission to do that. So as far as we know, the resignation has got nothing to do with admission of guilty or the organization finding her guilty. It's her as a disciplined member of MK and the leader realizing that there is this question that the country needs to resolve of returning those young people safely at home, and she has requested that she be recused from responsibilities and focus in cooperating fully with all organs of the state who want to find the truth and return those South Africans.
As it stands, you can imagine how the families are feeling. No one is happy or even satisfied with the resignation alone. They want their sons back. And it's not going to be easy because now they are in war. So Duduzile says she has to resign to help bring them back home. She doesn't say she has taken any part in this. The party also says they are not party of any of this. This despite all the letterheads on the communication. And even that former President Jacob Zuma spoke to Russia directly about this. So he does have knowledge of this. So as I've said, this is a developing story. Hopefully it will move really quickly for the safe return of the men because people die in these wars. As it stands, Jordan has also requested that every single person recruited under false pretense to fight for Russia from their country must be released and returned home. So it is not only South Africans on the front lines of fighting for Russia. It's a lot and it is deadly. So what are your thoughts on this story? Please let me know what you think and thank you so much for watching. Please be safe. I will see you on the next